Hey, what's going on? Rick over here at RacerCat Motorsport. Going to do a couple things a little different today. Want to do a couple reaction videos and post them throughout the week. Something I rarely do, but came across a couple of videos that I thought might be interesting. So we're going to start with this one. This one is titled The Psychology of People Obsessed with JDM Cars. As someone who grew up in the JDM Japanese race culture, I'm kind of curious what this has to say. I haven't watched it yet, so this will be my, initial reaction and thoughts on the whole idea of this video. So let's go ahead and watch it together. And I'll try not to pause too many times, but we will see what this has to say. Here we go.
Picture this. Someone spending their entire savings on a
R34
30-year-old car from Japan. Not a Ferrari, not a Lamborghini, a Nissan Skyline, or a Toyota Supra. Their friends think they're crazy. Their family questions.
Okay, that's kind of an odd one to start with, considering I can understand the GTR because they were never sold in the US, but the Supra was always here, so that'd be a weird thing to import when you could readily buy them here and Canada and just register it.
Their judgment, but to them, it's the most rational decision in the world. What's really happening inside their minds? The obsession with JDM cars reveals something
RX-7.
fascinating about human psychology that goes way beyond just liking fast cars. It's a window into how we form identities, create meaning, and find our place in the world. And honestly, understanding this obsession helps us understand obsession itself. Let's start with something called identity economics. Humans don't just buy things because they need them. We buy things that tell a story about who we are. When someone chooses a JDM car over a
FC RX-7. And I can definitely see that to where like luxury buys are more about like your personality and like the culture you grew up with. I can definitely see that.
mainstream sports car, they're making a statement. They're saying they value rarity, they appreciate engineering over badge prestige, and they're part of a subculture that knows something the average person doesn't. It's like being in on a secret that makes you special. Think about how different this is from buying a Porsche or
Sylvia?
Corvette. Those are impressive cars, sure, but they're obvious choices. They scream, "Look at me, I have money." A modified Mazda RX-7 with a rotary engine whispers something else entirely. It says, "I understand what real enthusiasts appreciate."
It says, I like my car, even though I know I'll have to rebuild the engine because the apex seals 3 times a year. Been there with an FC and an FD.
There's a psychological concept called distinction seeking, where people deliberately choose less mainstream options to separate themselves from the crowd. JDM car enthusiasts are masters of this. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Most of these obsessed enthusiasts grew up in the 90s or early 2000s. They played Gran Turismo and Need for Speed Underground. They watched The Fast and the Furious at a formative age. These weren't just games and movies to them. They were blueprint experiences that shaped their entire worldview about what's cool, what's valuable, and what's worth pursuing. Psychologists call this imprinting, and it happens during critical developmental windows, especially during adolescence when we're forming our core identities. The brain basically takes these early experiences and files them under, "This is what success and coolness look like." Decades later, a grown adult will pay ridiculous amounts of money for a car they first saw in a video game when they were 12. It's not really about the car anymore. It's about reconnecting with that feeling of wonder and possibility they had as a kid. That's nostalgia working at a deep psychological level. But there's another layer. JDM cars were forbidden fruit for the longest time. In America, the 25-year import rule meant these cars were illegal to own. In other countries, they were simply rare and expensive to import. Psychological research consistently shows that restrictions increase desire. When something is hard to get, our brains assign it more value automatically. It's called the scarcity principle.
Yeah, and for those that were around, it got even worse when Motorex, the company in Lomita, California, was wrongly importing them and selling them using duplicate VIN numbers and pink slips, which caused the ones that they had to be impounded and, no longer be able to be imported, and the company shutting down and getting multiple lawsuits. And a lot of people's cars were never actually valid due to the company that imported that way, making it even harder to get them in the US and making them even more of a no-no. And, people being able to pay a ridiculous amount of money to import them because one company screwed up and made them even harder to get in the U.S. Luckily, when we import cars, we always did them when we're in the military, so we just shipped them.
And it's one of the most powerful forces in human decision-making.
Picture this.
Damn it.
Saving up to 10% when you bundle your home and auto insurance.
So these cars weren't just cool, they were unattainable. And when something is unattainable, it becomes almost mythical in our minds. People would spend hours watching videos of cars they couldn't have, reading about them, dreaming about them. This actually strengthened their obsession. The waiting and wanting became part of the appeal itself. Social belonging plays a massive role here too. When someone gets into JDM cars, they're not just getting a vehicle, they're getting access to an entire community. Car meets, online forums, Instagram groups, track days. Suddenly, they're surrounded by people who speak their language, who understand their passion, who validate their choices. Humans are tribal creatures. We desperately want to belong to something bigger than ourselves. And here's what makes JDM culture particularly powerful. It has its own language, its own values, its own hierarchy. Knowing the difference between an RB26 and a 2JZ engine isn't just technical knowledge, it's cultural currency. It's how you prove you belong. Anthropologists study these kinds of subcultural markers, and JDM culture has developed incredibly sophisticated ones. The level of modification, the authenticity of parts, the history of a particular chassis number, all of this creates
Chinese hearts break hearts. Or Chinese parts break hearts. I can't speak today. Bloody hell.
layers of status and recognition within the community. There's also something called the IKEA effect in psychology. People value things more when they've put effort into them. JDM car ownership isn't passive. These cars require work. They need maintenance. They need modification. Parts have to be sourced from Japan. Engines need rebuilding. Every owner becomes part mechanic, part detective, part curator. This investment of time and energy makes the car feel like an extension of themselves. It's not just property anymore. It's almost like a child they've raised. The modification culture amplifies this even further. A stock JDM car is nice, but a properly built one is a personal statement. Every part chosen, every performance upgrade, every aesthetic decision reflects the owner's taste and knowledge. It's creative expression through machinery. And when someone compliments their build, it's not just praising their car, it's praising their judgment, their taste, their dedication.
I can see that.
That hits the reward centers in the brain hard.
Validation.
Let's talk about dopamine for a second. This neurotransmitter drives so much of human behavior. It's not actually the pleasure chemical, though. It's the anticipation chemical. Dopamine fires when we're pursuing something, when we're on the hunt, when we're working towards a goal. JDM car culture is perfectly designed to trigger dopamine constantly. There's always another part to buy, another modification to plan, another car to dream about owning.
Okay. How many of us are in that situation where we have project cars that'll just never be done because there's always something else to do, something else to improve, something else to fix that broke? It's kind of there on multiple stages.
Another lap time to beat. The pursuit never ends, which means the dopamine hits keep coming.
Status seeking is another huge factor that people don't always want to admit. Within mainstream society, these cars might seem strange or impractical, but within the enthusiast community, they confer serious status. Rolling up to a car meet in a pristine R34 Skyline GTR gets you instant respect. It signals dedication, knowledge, and often financial commitment.
Yeah, I would say that was a thing 10 years ago. Now, I think a lot of the people that are really into Japanese cars are really seeing the R34 as kind of overplayed and kind of everybody wants them, and now you just see them everywhere. I'd more rather see some cars that are rarely built and people put some effort and time into a car you rarely see than seeing another Supra or seeing another Skyline or, something along that nature.
Commitment. Humans are hierarchical creatures, whether we like admitting it or not. We constantly evaluate where we stand relative to others. JDM culture just creates its own status system separate from mainstream luxury markers. There's also an element of contrarianism at play. Many JDM enthusiasts take pride in going against conventional automotive wisdom. While others chase horsepower numbers and 0 to 60 times, they appreciate balance, handling dynamics, and engineering
I
philosophy.
was wondering where they're going with
There's a
that.
certain satisfaction in knowing something the masses don't. It's a form of intellectual superiority, even if that sounds harsh. Psychology research shows that people who see themselves as having non-mainstream knowledge or taste often form stronger attachments to their interests. The technical complexity of these cars matters too. JDM engines and drivetrains often feature engineering solutions that are genuinely innovative. The Skyline's Itessa all-wheel drive system, the sequential turbo setup in the RX-7, the variable valve timing systems that were ahead of their time.
VTEC?
Learning about these systems and understanding how they work provides genuine intellectual stimulation. It's puzzle solving, it's mastery, and humans are hardwired to find mastery deeply satisfying. Here's something subtle but important. JDM car obsession provides clear, measurable goals in a world that often feels chaotic and ambiguous. Save money for the car, find the right one, import it, modify it, take it to the track, beat your personal best time. These are concrete objectives with clear success markers. Compare that to modern life, where success often feels nebulous and constantly shifting. The clarity of automotive goals provides psychological comfort and direction. The aesthetic appeal can't be ignored either. JDM cars from the 90s especially have a design language that resonates with people on a visual level. Those sharp lines, those proportions, those details. Beauty activates reward centers in the brain just like food or social connection does. And when something looks right to us, we want to be near it, to possess it, to make it ours. What really ties all of this together is meaning-making. Humans need to feel like their lives have purpose and direction. For some people, religion provides that. For others, career or family. For JDM enthusiasts, their cars become a central organizing principle in their lives. Weekend plans revolve around car meets. Vacations include visiting famous automotive locations in Japan. Friendships form around shared passion. The car becomes the axis around which
Don't forget your entire budget for your livelihood will revolve around the next part or the next build. I don't know how many times where I've canceled plans or made a very minimum meal plan just so I could afford whatever my next track day was or my next build or my next repair. It definitely has a place in your life that kind of takes control.
a meaningful life is constructed. And maybe that's what outsiders miss when they shake their heads at someone spending $50,000 on an old Japanese car. They're not seeing the car. They're seeing the identity, the community, the purpose, the nostalgia, the mastery, and the meaning all rolled into one turbocharged package. The obsession isn't irrational at all. It's deeply, profoundly human.
Okay, so that was a pretty good video. I'll kind of throw in my own 2 cents there at the end that people that were in the early Japanese JDM culture, like you said, the late 90s, early 2000s, which is kind of the group I fall into since I got my driver's license in 1997. And my first car was a brand new 1999 Civic Si. It was, I did the car meets, I did the track days, I did the SCCA events, I did all the drifting, I went to all the drifting events, all the car shows, yada, yada, yada. And it was very accepting. No matter what you built, people would be like, oh yeah, your car is cool. Oh, what did you do to it? What did you do to it? Oh, that's cool. Did you do this, do this? And they give you ideas and it was a good community, which I would definitely say has changed a lot for car meets nowadays. Cause now it's not obsession about the car or the culture or the aesthetic of the car. Now people chase trends. They chase, status symbols in cars. And you see it a lot on social media, how many times you see the same BMW model at a car meet, how many times you see the same, whatever car is the trendy at the time. You go to any event and all of a sudden there's 90 of them and nothing else. That wasn't so true back in the earlier days when I was really into the car. Well, I mean, I still am, but early on in the car days in the JDM scene, that wasn't really a thing. You would see a wide variety of cars. This day and age, it's a little bit mixed because now it's not JDM culture has kind of shifted to import cultures because the Japanese culture and the German auto culture, so Volkswagens, BMWs, they've all kind of merged and mixed together. And then you have the other side of it with the American cars, with the Mopar, Mustang guys. So instead of there being like multiple subcultures like there used to be, we're really down to 3 now. You have the imports, which is basically Japanese, German, and Korean now for some part. The exotics, so the Ferraris, Lambos, all that kind of crap. And then the American car crowd. So to where back in the day, we probably had, 10 or 12 different subcultures in the car industry or car culture. Now we're really only down to 3. So I would say that would be the biggest change when it comes to psychology from back then. But like you said, humans are tribal in nature, so they find the groups to fall into. It's just those groups are expanding wider than just the little niche cultures they used to be back in the day, if that makes sense. But I actually found this video very interesting. What did you guys think? What do you guys think? Some things that are kind of subconscious or culturally oh my God, I cannot talk. That's psychology based that kind of falls into the car culture. I'd love to see your guys' thoughts and opinions. Just remember, keep everything respectful. But thanks for watching, and I will see everyone on the next video. Bye.